Okay, so I'm just going to ask you some questions about school subjects. What methods can be applied to make math class more interesting? Okay, anyone would like to?
I think the education process in math subject, it starts from the teacher itself. Himself, because if he already skilled in math, and he already has the ambition to teach other children, he will be the first step for them to encourage them to learn.
Okay, so speaking of methods, because I know most of you, do we have any teachers here? Someone who's a teacher in any subject?
I am.
Okay, what do you teach, Najat?
I used to be the head of Arabic and Islamic department when I was in India.
Okay, that's great. That's really good. Okay, so probably you're aware of teaching methods. When we speak about teaching methods, what are the things that we can apply to math, for example, to make it more fun or more interesting?
I believe that it is the responsibility of a teacher to make her class or his class an interesting one, no matter which subject they are teaching, by making the students part of the teaching process, not as as receivers, but as communicators and participants.
Okay.
So the students should carry at least 90% of the class, and the rest of the 100%, that is the 10%, is for the teacher to guide them. We're not talking about the math. Maybe the teacher can make some competition and give some gifts, and with that, and maybe also grouping the students into groups, or dividing the students into groups, and making each group contribute in the class. I think that will help. Also, maybe if we make pairs, one of the good students should help the bad, like the weak student. So in that way, maybe I believe we can make the class very interesting for the students. And about
you've given me actually a number of good examples. Now let's make them, again, going back to the idea of examples, turning them to ideas. Let's talk about the concepts or the teaching methodology that we should follow. So you talked about, like, for example, the students should be doing a lot of work. We call this what? So for example, we can say classes should be what? Student-centered. Are you familiar with these expressions? Now I'm going to try to give you like simple things, not complicated things, but believe me, guys, these words are very important. So classes should be student-centered, and it's not like the way where the teacher is standing on the board and talking all the time, while the kids, are just sitting in their, seats and just observing or receiving. It should be a hands-on, learning experience where kids experiment, and do most of the work. Again, talking about student-centered learning. What else? There's something called kinesthetic learning, but it might be difficult for you to grasp as a meaning. So we're just going to leave it. We can talk about using visuals.
Project method.
Yeah, projects, yes.
Or laboratory.
Yeah, laboratory. Okay, using labs or laboratories, yes. Using visuals and going to labs. What else? We can actually use technology.
Teaching aids.
Okay, that's a very good, yes, that's a general good expression. So teaching aids, including visuals and blending, let's say, for example, blending technology with learning. because many kids would love, for example, to use an app to learn instead of maybe a pencil or a piece of paper and so on and so on. So just think of these expressions. Anyone would like to add something else to that?
We can reward them on anything that they do to make this more exciting, for example.
Yeah, again, how do we make things more exciting?
The education in general and the maths class.
Okay, can you say the sentence, because I didn't pick up the first few words.
Yeah, we can reward them on anything that they can do or they did, because that can help them to make their self more exciting, or they class.
Rewarding them, praising them, all of that. What do we call it in English? There is a word for that.
Encourage.
Encouragement, yes. Okay. Other words, there is a word for that. There is a word, I think you know it. This word, reinforcement. Okay, ta'ziz, as we say in Arabic. This is one of the techniques that are used, that is encouraging students, encouraging and praising students, etc. Yeah, this is also that would be using games as well, is an example of the teaching, or let's say, for example, more interesting ways of teaching something. Also, Najat mentioned role play, not role play, probably you talked about peers or working in groups or in pairs. Probably you said peers. I'm not sure if you said peers, P-E-E-R, or pairs.
No, yeah, no, this is the right spelling.
Okay, all right. I heard it as peers, like this.
Pairs means two, like
pairs. This is the one you're looking for. Okay, so that's pairs. So groups or in pairs to work together. Okay, and so on and so on. All right. موضوع education, if it comes in the test, that would be kind of challenging for you to answer. Especially if you want to use some, educational terms like these ones. So you should be familiar with that a little bit. All right. Which is the most useful subject? If I ask you this question, which is the most useful subject? At school, of course.
Actually, it depends on your major or in your personality as a single character, because someone who concerned about medicine in general, and some other one who concerned about maths on the other hand, because of that, these kinds of men will be concerned about mathematics in general, and something like it.
Okay, sounds good. That's a very good answer. Okay, can I say that all subjects are useful, but it depends on the situation, depends, as you said, on the field that you're going to specialize in the future, and so on, because everything adds something, right? Like, for example, even history, although we say it is useless, but it doesn't hurt learning a bit about your country's history. As we know, history repeats itself, so we should, probably learn from these mistakes. You should have some historical background, to be aware of your surrounding, the politics, your country's future. That would be important. All right, now let's go to talk about an easy topic, which is cell phones. Okay, but the questions are not really that easy. Okay, for children, from what age do you think it becomes suitable for them to use cell phones? That's controversial. Okay, what's the meaning of controversial?
Something mystery maybe, or something criticism about it.
You're close, but
Yeah,
this is not.
مثير للجدل.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's controversial. It means it's argumentative. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Some people say yes, some people say no, some people agree, some people disagree. So controversial. I would say, for example, this question is controversial. Okay. Okay, so what is the right age you know, in which I should actually, or kids are allowed to use cell phones. What do you think?
I believe it depends on the child. If they are responsible, then maybe we can allow them to use the cell phone.
Okay, that's good.
However, as a parent, I don't allow my kids to have or to own cell phones until they are mature enough to take responsibility for their actions. I believe that when the child or when the adult a young person reaches the age of 16, it will be you know, maybe the right age, because only then they can take responsibility. They know that the right way of using the cell phones and the technology. And I believe that cell phones and technology are two-edged swords. There are two-edged swords, and they can be used in a good way or a bad way. With saying that, we should also never neglect the responsibility of the parents. Parents have the responsibility to be always there with their kids, with their children, and watch over them and take care and give them the advice, and keep an eye on them in order to you know, prevent any misusage of this kind of technology.
Okay, thank you so much. That's quite good. Shall we now? I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna disagree with you for argument's sake. So can we actually say, okay, age 16, can we just put it in a number? Can we, I'm gonna ask Muad, shall we actually limit maturity to a number, to an age, a specific age? What do you think?
I think no, we cannot, because it depends on your environment, actually. Because some people live in, you know, a very advanced, very advanced city, because that they have a lot of technology, they have a lot of internet, for example, and that can help them to become an intelligent in the future. I think these things can help them to become more awareness from
to become more aware. Sorry, I'm just going to correct that. To become more aware, not awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, to become more aware from the from earlier ages.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's quite good. Yeah. So we're just here, you know, discussing these things. Okay, how about, for example, okay, there's no specific age, but there should be maybe a specific time to use it. There should be monitoring, because Najat mentioned also a good idea about, okay, you can give them mobiles, provided that, يعني بشرط, provided that what? We monitor their activities. Okay, so kids can be given given mobiles for a limited period of time, provided that what?
Their activities.
Okay, provided that يعني بشرط إنه we monitor their activity. Because what is wrong with the internet? What's wrong with using for kids? Speaking of this, hi, وسامعين صوت كيد كمان live, yes. So speaking of that, what's wrong with giving kids the access, you know, to internet? What do we have online that we fear our kids might, you know, interact with or come across?
I think using internet maybe cause something like addiction.
Addiction,
and that
okay,
can,
good. Yes, addiction.
That can waste their times. So we can inform them to manage their times to make it more effective.
Okay, so use their time efficiently. That, I would say that. Okay. Yes, Saad, would you like to add something? What else? What are the dangers?
Yes.
The possible dangers online?
We have inappropriate contents for teenagers and also for kids.
So lots of dangers online. So we have, for example, inappropriate, as you said, or age inappropriate. إذا بدنا شوي يعني نبهرها شوي. So say age inappropriate content. Okay, appropriate. معلش بعرفش أطبع وأكتب أنا. I just need to double check the spelling. Okay, you see where the stress here is? You see how I pronounce this word? Inappropriate. So pro is the stressed syllable. ركزوا لنا على السيلابل شوي والبرونسيشن في عندكم شوية يعني أغلبكم عندكم شوي مشكلة فيه مش بكل شيء بس يعني بدنا we need to work a little bit on it. So age inappropriate content. There are also predators, right? What's the meaning of predator? Predators.
اللي بيصطادوا
الحيوانات
يعني
الحيوانات والأطفال. Yeah, they fall
لا
under
الناس
the same.
السيئين يعني.
Yeah, exactly.
الناس السيئين.
Predator هي مفترس أصلاً, as you said, for animals. But here we say predators who are actually, who try to, you know, victimize kids, right? So this is the say predators.
Yes.
Yeah. So they use them, abuse them, whatever, you know, they're sick people, okay, trying to victimize kids, as we say. يعني خلوهم ضحية لهم and so on. In addition to many other things. So it's actually lots of dangers, right? If you've ever seen this experiment where they actually asked, where they made this, the social experiment. If you have ever watched it on YouTube, actually you should, about little girls, they would actually approach them pretending to be teenagers their age, and they would convince them, believe it or not, to come out from their houses and meet them outside in the middle of the night and get into their cars. And parents would say, no way my kid would do it, but they will be surprised that their kids were able to come out of the house and go in the middle of the night and meet these strangers. So imagine that that stranger was actually a real predator. So that's unbelievable. You should actually watch that one. It's a very, very interesting social experiment. And it shows, you know, the amount of danger that surrounds kids outside. Okay, any questions?
I still remember that game, the Blue Whale.
Yeah, I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, that also can be, you know, spoken about when we speak about the dangers that face our children while using the technology and the mobiles and the games.
Is that the one that would push kids to commit suicide and challenge?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Oh my God, yeah, that's
that
sick.
was the one.
That is really sick, yeah. Anyone would like to add something before we, because we've reached the end of our class, unfortunately, and I'm going to send you, you know, these expressions, but would you like to add anything before we end our class? Anyone who hasn't, you know, talked? That's it?
I have a question. It's a quick one.
Yes, please. Sure.
Now, when we speak about the pet, for example, if we say that we have a kitten and the kitten is a male, do we use the pronoun he as if we consider the animal as a part of our family, or do we use it?
As you said, it depends on you. If you look at it, if you perceive that animal as a family member, you would say he or she, depending on the gender, of course. But if you think that this animal is just an animal, you would just use it.
So if we say, because I have always came across people who are considering the pet as a member of the family or a family member, and they use he or she, will the examiner know that we mean it in that way, or will he think that we don't know the differences between the pronouns?
You know, like, because IELTS, actually the speaking IELTS, you know, you can actually use everyday language. You don't really need to stick to you know, the standard British, for example, formal language. So just make sure to mention the name and the gender of that animal at the beginning. And then you can proceed saying he or she, depending on whether it's male or female. So there's no harm with that. Yeah, there's absolutely no harm. Okay, any other questions before we go, guys? No, nothing? Okay, thank you for coming today. I was really happy to having to have you today. Inshallah, tomorrow we're gonna have another class at 7 as well. So if you have any topics that you would like to talk about, you can actually text me on the WhatsApp group. The general topic. I'm gonna prepare some questions and we can practice together. Okay, so see you inshallah tomorrow, 7 p.m. Jordan time. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
You're most welcome. Okay, have a good night, guys. See you tomorrow.